Happy Halloween! Oh my gosh. One of my favorite times of the year, right? We got our costume-ish on, I guess. Ish.
I'm wearing the Harry Potter, I like that one. Harry Potter sorting hat.
And I'm a witch, which my husband would say rhymes with, no, it's okay. But anyways, so happy Halloween, y'all. One of my favorite holidays. We go all out decorating our house, and it's just so fun, right?
It looks fantastic, by the way. I love it. I love it. I'm still, my Halloween decorations consist of 2 inflatables in my front yard.
But those are fun too. They're fun for when we take our walks at night. We love to just walk around and look at what everybody does in their yards, and that, I don't know, it's part of the joy of the season.
And if anyone can get a hold of the Bucky's Beaver, okay? I wanted a Bucky's Beaver inflatable, and I could not get one.
Oh, no. I wish I know. But I did a trip to Savannah and stopped at Bucky's to charge.
Yeah?
They had one.
Did they?
Yeah. I just needed to know. Okay.
Well, next
time. Yeah, exactly.
Next year.
So welcome back to our second episode. So exciting. Thank you for being with us. So last episode, we introduced an incredible distillery, the St. Augustine Distillery. And we're continuing with them. And if you remember, they are, for us in Florida, a local distillery. They were built with 20 families with the mission of making world-class spirits, and then just helping St. Augustine become an even better place to pass on generation after generation. So love that that's their why, right?
Yes,
and they do make incredible spirits. So today we are enjoying a gin drink again. This is a twist on an Aviation. I call it an Aviation flip. So, and an Aviation typically is gin and then Creme de Violet, a little bit of citrus, but a flip means our resident bartender here added egg white to it. So it makes it a little creamy and fluffy. So cheers.
Cheers.
And cheers to you all. Thank you for joining us today. Oh my gosh, so good.
Oh, that's delicious.
This is our first time trying it.
It's my first time. This is fantastic. I don't know if we're going to make it through the podcast with one here.
They are. Gin drinks are typically strong, right? So the podcast is appropriately called Books and Booze, right? Because we enjoy drinking and we enjoy reading. So put them together and...
Books and Booze.
Books and Booze. So the book that... we go with, and the ingredients for this will be down below. So if you want to make this yourself, our amazing resident bartender, aka my husband, will put that in the notes so you can make it and cheers with us. Leilani, you picked out this book. Oh, we're supposed to introduce ourselves, aren't we? Sorry. It's our second podcast. Stay with us. We'll get there. So go ahead, my friend.
My name's Leilani. I'm actually CEO of Be Chic LLC. We are a retail company, and we actually have been diving into some other endeavors such as Sage Consultants.
Yes. And I'm Kristen. I've spent the better part of almost 30 years in various incredible corporate retail worlds, and just loved my experience, worked with some incredible people. And now diving into Sage together to take everything that we've learned being in a successful corporate world and successful business and helping small businesses flourish and make their dreams come true.
Yes, absolutely. And I love this energy that Kristen and I have. She comes from a very extensive corporate background, 30 years, and mine is more from the entrepreneurial small business side. And so we're able to tag team together and really come forward and help other businesses first start and then grow.
Yeah, continue and grow and scale.
Yeah,
so,
and
yes.
scale.
So the book that you recommended to me was...
Oh, sorry. Yes, start with why.
Yeah, absolutely. And we recapped last week basically the first, what would you say, like the first third of the book?
I think it was about 3 or 4 chapters in. We covered on the first podcast. And feel free, if this is the first podcast you've listened to us, please rewind and go watch the first one as well. But we dove into the basics of why it's important to start with your why. And now I think we're going to continue forward with the second third of the book and dive a little bit further into why it really matters.
Absolutely. So one of the things that really got me was really getting into we touched on at the end of last one, how it's not just woo-woo, like we said, right? Like it's it's scientific, it's biological, right? We all want to feel like we belong to something that's natural.
Yeah, it is true. Humans, we are creatures, well, you always hear creatures of habit, but us humans do well and we thrive when we're around other humans. And the idea that every human has that feeling of wanting to belong to something. Even if you say you don't, I'm sorry guys, you're lying to yourself. Everyone wants to have a feeling of belonging to something or some purpose or some train of thought.
Absolutely. And also bringing in the, I liked when he starts talking about the two parts of the brain. Like that's how this scientific it is as well, right? Like, we showed kind of the diagram why Simon created the golden circle concept, and the outermost, it kind of appeals to our analytical brain, right?
Yeah.
The what is, like, we can define it, we can attach to that, we can quantify that, we can gauge it by metrics.
Yeah.
But it's the limbic brain, the inside, that is our emotional.
Yeah.
It guides our emotional decisions.
Yeah.
So that's why knowing a why, it's sometimes, he gave the example, oh, I really like this person because they're funny and smart. Well, there's lots of funny and smart people. So do you like every single girl who has brown hair who's funny and smart? No, there was something about that particular girl, and that it just comes from what you said earlier, like the gut.
Yeah,
the gut
it
instinct.
comes from the gut. So the idea is, we come back to the biology part of humans. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever had it, but I've done it. Sometimes we've made irrational purchases that just don't quite make sense, but yet, we rationalize it some way in our head to make that purchase. But the purchase actually came from the gut or the limbic brain, which the limbic brain has a hard time processing words or emotions into words. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is we make decisions or we take actions without fully understanding it, because there's an emotional side that's connected to that decision, and that decision happened in the limbic brain, which is not able to actually come in and say, with great grammar, why we actually did that decision.
It doesn't necessarily align.
It doesn't align.
Yeah. And it ties actually in. Simon goes on to explain how this craze hit where you make your whites whiter and your brights brighter with, I think it was Tide or something like that. And I remember that commercial. But then so all these, laundry detergent companies put all this technology into it, right? And all these things that are supposed to make things cleaner and brighter or brighter and stuff like that. But in the end, when they kind of polled the audience, if you will, what they wanted was their clothes to just smell amazing.
Yeah.
Which I totally resonate.
I
pull my clothes out of the dryer and I'm like,
I'm a Tide girl for that reason.
So, and it's like Kevin knows, my favorite thing I tell him over and over is, I love clean sheets.
Yes.
There's just a feeling about getting into bed with fresh washed linens. So I totally get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though we say we want one thing, how we really connect to it is different. And I think that's what we try to do for our clients. And that's what Simon's talking about, is when you have your why and you understand your customer attaches to your why, then making a sale becomes almost easier, right?
Well, it's effortless.
It's effortless, yeah. They want to be part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They believe in what you believe in, and then that's when the effortless part comes in. It's because you don't have to sell them. There's no selling that's really involved, because it's a belief that you already have, and you're just sharing it with them.
One of the other things I love, because I think, when we're talking about building a business, we're helping our clients, we've even talked ourselves, it's important to have a why, but that why also has to be like super real.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you watch some of these commercials and you hear things and you feel like you can see through it.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So authenticity, I think Simon actually used the word. You got to have your why.
Yeah.
And your why has to be truly what motivates you. But then again, we have this thing, we talk about this with our clients. It's a little bit of a chess game, right? Because truly, sometimes your why is, I need to make money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But how do you want to go about making money? And then one of the things you always told me as we started on this adventure, just what is our why? What is our why? The money comes when the way is clear, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to see when you're acting out of, oh my gosh, I have these bills to pay, I have this to take care of. So a lot of times we as business owners, we're like, why? Why is because I got to pay my mortgage and my rent.
You start acting
out of desperation. Mm-hmm.
Your decisions are based out of desperation, and your why can get muddled in that.
Right, absolutely. So how do you hold on to a why that's bigger than the bills you have to pay right now, right?
And that's just part of being an entrepreneur. The first thing I say is, being an entrepreneur, yes, it does take thick skin. It does. It's not hard. A lot of people say, being an entrepreneur is hard. No, it isn't. But it will take you having thick skin and the willingness to overcome adversities. And it'll be easier to overcome adversities as long as you are aligned with your why. If every decision you make is based on your why, it's easy to overcome those obstacles. And the thing is, as a byproduct, the money will come because your customers and your clients and the people you are speaking to will see that you're authentic in your decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe in the end, your why really is that you want to give a great life to your family, or you want to retire your spouse, or maybe it is, it's okay. We as humans want abundance.
Yeah.
We want ease. We want comfort. And that's okay to want. Like, where did this whole thing come from where you've got to be ultra humble and
the shame,
right?
Shame. Because everyone's perspective of what abundance is different from the next, right? So there's not everyone wants to be a billionaire, not everyone's looking to be a billionaire or a millionaire. Some people, their version of abundance is just having a steady roof over their head and a great car to get them from where they want to be. Or, there's a lot right now, there's a huge movement of people who are living in mobile RVs, and they're just going around the country, and their version of abundance is having a workable RV and enough money to get them to pay, their lot rent for the month. And everyone's version, I guess, without rambling, everyone's version is different.
Yep.
And so
true.
You don't have to have shame in what you want. There's nothing wrong with wanting what you want. And as long as your why aligns with what you want, right? Because the two have to go together. The intention, for me anyways, the attention has to align. So if my why is my family, then every decision I make is around and centered around how my decision could impact them. And if it doesn't impact them, move forward. If it does impact them, don't. And so I would like my family and I to have abundance. What's abundance to us? Well, abundance to me actually is time. I want to buy my time. And for me, it's that. What does that time mean? Well, having more ability to make lasting memories. Stories will be told about my husband and I for generations because we were able to make lasting memories with them. And that's what abundance is for me. It's not actual money. Money is a byproduct that will happen in order to give me my why, which is more time with my family.
I love that. And I think that's where we connected as friends, first, and then why working together is so seamless as well, which ties into another thing that I really loved about you and everything you wanted to do for Be Chic. Simon brings this in, bringing in the right people, right? So you call your employees, not employees, they're
my teammates.
Your teammates,
my
right?
team members, my team. They're my team.
Yeah. And your hat winning.
Sorry, my sorting hat doesn't want to sort anymore.
But you look fabulous.
Thank you.
But what I really like is how he kind of gave the example of what happened to Shackleton. I think it was Edgar Shackleton or something like that, who was exploring Antarctica or wanted to explore Antarctica. Yeah. And, the type of people he would need to attract to go on that mission. Because at that point, we didn't have the technology that we had now. So it was a very potential perilous,
very perilous.
Yes, absolutely. So his ad did not try to sugarcoat what it is he needed. I think it talked about how today the ad might be wanted, go-getters who enjoy adventure, where it kind of leaves out, but versus his ad was something like danger, might not succeed, bitter cold, something like that.
Yeah.
So there are a few niche people that appealed to.
Yep.
And in the end, if I remember what Simon wrote correctly in this history account, they actually didn't make it. There had to be a rescue mission come for them, but they didn't lose a single member of their team because they worked together on that journey for survival and kind of broke up who went and got help to come back and get the others. But unlike, the Donner family when they were trying to get across the pass, and there was cannibalism and also just to survive to get through the winter, like that didn't need to happen because he had hired the right people. So that goes to, us as business owners when once we have our why, making sure the people we bring in to represent our brand align with, which is what you have done so beautifully.
And it happens again effortlessly. The why is prevalent in our business, and so the people we intend to attract that work with us are aligned with that, and they appreciate that. And when there's obstacles and adversity that comes our way, we come together as a team. The sorting hat really is. Sorry, it's distracted me here. Trying to have a moment.
But it also, sometimes people may not have the experience that you need, but it talks about, even Simon mentioned, and I know this from my years of experience, a skill to some extent can be taught, right?
Yes.
But it's like your drive, your will, who you are, that's very hard to teach.
I don't hire skills.
No, you hire their mindset.
Their mindset, actually,
right?
Just to give you a backstory. So part of hiring our VA that we have, which Roby, if you're watching this, hi, love you, was a series of interviews. But I wasn't, there was some writing things here and there. But what I was really trying to go for, engage, was her mindset. And once I was able to see her mindset, then we were able to decide whether we were going to move forward or not. And there was plenty of candidates, but again, I wasn't too worried about the tactile skills because those can be taught in here. And if it aligns with mine, that has to come from in here. I don't believe that can be taught.
So here becomes, because, we've met all different types of clients. I've had different types of leaders that I've had to work and develop. You've had different employees. We talk about being authentic, and we talk about having the right mindset. Mm-hmm. Now, the process to evolve yourself and change and become and improve your mindset to be authentically who you want to be can be a painful process, a challenging process, right?
Introspection always, I think, will be. I can only speak from my own experience, but I am who I am now because of the series of events that I've gone through, my experiences. But without actually turning inward and looking in at my experience and what it's brought me and how I've grown, does nothing. So the introspection, the mindset part is really key.
It's critical, right?
It is critical.
And you had said it last time, when something goes wrong, it's not a mistake.
Oh yeah, I don't believe. There it goes.
You gotta put it.
Sorry.
There you go.
Maybe it needs to go in the front.
There you go. There.
We're gonna make this work, guys.
I actually like it better like that. There we go.
I don't believe in any failures. Everything is a lesson.
Yeah.
So, experience. That's really what it is. Failure doesn't exist. We all have lessons.
We all have lessons to learn. So, when we take, different owners that are at a point of almost hopelessness, right? Like, it can't work. I don't know what to do. This is happening to me, right? Oh, the economy. Oh, the weather. Oh, yeah. The construction in my downtown area. Oh, yeah. The customers are different. Like we hear almost every excuse in the book, right? Yeah. And I remember listening to a podcast by Jim Rohn, and it was his story of coming up and meeting and working with Mr. Schaaf to understand how he needed to turn his life around. And Mr. Schaaf had asked Jim for a list of the reasons why he didn't succeed, and Jim had every excuse in the book. And Mr. Schaaf says to him, well, the one thing that isn't on there but should be is you.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it starts with an accountability of
Full accountability.
who we are and what we're doing and our why. Right, circling back to this, being authentic, and then how do we even help our teammates through that and realize that we personally have the ability to influence everything that happens if it aligns with our why.
I think if you have your why and you're helping explain your why, you're being transparent about your why to your team, and they believe in your why, that's where the best synergies and the best productivity and the best of everything happens in a business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Simon goes on to explain that you can't just have a why. Like, that feels really exciting. He talked about Dr. King.
Yeah.
And I mean, huge moment in time, right, where Dr. King delivers his I Have a Dream speech, right? But what was powerful for me in the book when Simon says that people weren't showing up to support Dr. King, they were showing up to support themselves because his why aligned with their why. So that was the emotional part, right? And sometimes our businesses are emotional. There's some of us that have all different things that we do for different customers, and it can be an emotional journey for your customer. But then Simon goes on to explain how we do need the plan. And the plan is very important that it aligns with the why. Yeah. Right? And he lined up a lot of people in it. He talked about Dr. King and Mr. Abernathy, I think is what his name was. And then he used Disney. I mean, here we are in House of Mouse's backyard, right?
I know. We're in Orlando, by the way.
So we see all things Disney all the time. And my kids grew up like super inspired by what Disney created, right? They saw the end goal. But what they didn't realize is the struggle that Walt had, because he was the visionary. Yeah. He had all the ideas. He could bring everybody initially into his why. Yeah. But then the money ran out time after time. Yeah. And that's where
he needed
Roy
his counterpart.
Exactly. Yeah. And I love that we take our clients through that and making sure that you understand who you are as a business leader initially, right? Are you the visionary? Are you the strategist, right? We talk about all these. So then who do you really need to balance you, or what do you need to do for yourself? Yeah. And I like that Simon points out that these successful individuals that changed the world had a plan. Yes. And the plan came through somebody that they trusted and who worked with them.
Exactly. Right? And it took me a few years to figure that one out, but yes, I absolutely agree. There's a yin to your yang. Everyone, there always has to be the counteract to you. We cannot do everything. There's no such thing as one-man bands. As much as you might think there isn't. It takes a team. Like you say, a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to have a successful company.
Business, absolutely. And then another thing that resonated with me in the book is when he gave the examples of the Wright brothers versus Langley.
Oh yeah, that was
because
big.
Langley was like, he had all the favor stacked in his corner, right?
Well, it's like that thing that, is not it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, it actually is an exact...
No, because it's the opposite. Because Langley had all the rich investors. He had money. He had powerful people. And his motive was to be... we don't know. He's not here to speak for himself. But the perception is that he wanted prestige. He wanted fame. And then the Wright brothers, way out in the country, they wanted innovation. They wanted to fly. And they didn't have the education. They didn't have the money. But they were the first off the ground.
Yeah. And they made the history books.
They made the history books.
More so, Langley, yes, we do know there's some airports out there. But, let's be realistic. The Wright brothers went down in history. And it all was because of their why. They came from no connections and no money. But yet they still, because their why was so aligned with what their vision was.
Then the people who did come and help them, their community, if you will.
Oh, yeah, their community came in.
And like magic, this Halloween season, our drinks magically refilled.
Thank goodness. I was getting a little parched.
Right? Okay, guys, we're back. So, we were talking about having the right partner, the yin to your yang, and we dig into that more in our modules and really understanding what you need for your business. What Simon goes into next, through some really great content, he continues circling back to the why and how your plan has to match your why and everything like that. And he gave a really good example that I actually remember. I remember when Oprah did her free car.
Oh,
do you remember that?
You get a car.
And you get a car. Right? And everybody went crazy, right? And Oprah was the hero, right?
Yeah, she was.
But I'd be curious. Before I read this book, I actually had no clue what car company
or what car
they got, right?
Me too.
So maybe some of you were one of those lucky car winners and you know exactly what car it was, but I had no clue till I read the book. And even before I went on to what Simon was explaining, before he even said, you probably don't even remember the car, boom, the message was right there. Because what I heard loud and clear was whatever car company it was, their why and their reason for providing, these hundreds of cars, their why, their message wasn't loud enough to resonate over what Oprah's message was, or it didn't align with what Oprah's message was, right? It was a marketing strategy on their part to provide these cars to hopefully get their brand back out there.
Yeah, they were using influencer marketing to try and push their brand. Right. Kind of backfired.
It totally backfired, unfortunately. So, as we continue through this and just talking about coming back to starting with why, I love how he hits on every part of it, right? It's your vision and your purpose, your reason. It's what you choose to do in your sales tactics and what you need to do. It's who you hire, right?
Yeah.
Who your partner is, to help the plan come through. And then even what your strategies are to make your business happen.
Yeah. Yeah, he hit it all, and I love how he incorporated why into every single one of them. Because it does. It all comes back down to the root. And the root, the foundation of any decision, again, this is something we've talked about in the other podcast, both personal, any point in your life, anywhere, business or personally, has to start with your why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, such a great book. We're about 2/3 of the way through, right? Yep. We have one more podcast coming out next week. Well, we'll wrap this up with yet another gin drink, right? Cheers on this one. Ching. So, so good. Aviation. You should try it, really. Check out that down below, and definitely get some St. Augustine gin for that, because it's a flip.
It has to be a flip.
Yep.
Flip is, I actually haven't had a regular Aviation, but this one, this flip Aviation is fantastic.
Yeah, a flip is, and I'm not a bartender, so please, no judgy comments, but I'm pretty sure a flip incorporates an egg white into the drink to add a creaminess and a frothiness.
Oh, it really did. It's fantastic.
Right? So good. So, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to next week on Books and Booze, where we continue our journey. We'll start with why, continue our journey with the St. Augustine Distillery and gin, and continue with you. So happy Halloween to you all.
Halloween,
yeah,
witches.
Trick or treat. Cheers.